So a company, if they are investing in design for over a course of 5 to 10 years, they can outperform. Also something that people overlook, even for an MVP, is branding. And never even once someone has asked me to design an app without using any color at all. And AI is going to play a major role. And a lot of companies can be seen leveraging this.
Hi guys, today we have Arjun on our podcast to talk about design, tips and business growth that can come handy to you anytime soon. Hey Arjun.
Hey Vani.
One quick question. So design is everywhere and it plays a huge role in any brand success. Is there any special or interesting fact or statistics on how design can actually help other businesses?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the recent studies shows that a company that invests in design can outperform S&P 500 companies by 219%. So it's actually something that's happening. So a company that's been investing in design for over a course of 5 to 10 years have actually outperformed S&P 500 companies, and that's a huge thing.
So when we talk about design, right, are we talking about branding or UX?
Absolutely, everything design. Everything design, that is from branding all the way to product design. I would say design can make an impact on business growth.
Do we have any number or anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. Like that's what I'm saying. So you know what S&P 500 companies are, right? It's actually the first 500 companies that are, in terms of market cap, listed in the US stock market. So a company, if they are investing in design for over a course of 5 to 10 years, they can outperform S&P 500 companies by more than 200%.
Okay.
That is more than 200%, and that's a big number.
All right. I think we can move on to the fun part right now. What is that one surprising request that came from the client that took you by storm?
Well, that's the one thing about design, right? Pretty much everyone can have a say on design. It doesn't matter if it's valid or if it actually makes sense. Pretty much everyone can give feedback on design and make requests on design. But something that really took me by surprise is this one time when a client asked for a monochromatic design.
Okay.
Well, it's not out of the ordinary. Me being someone who's an advocate of minimal design, I'm also a fan of monochrome. But this coming from a client who is much older, like he's in his 60s, 70s.
Okay.
So that actually caught me by surprise.
Specific reason?
Because in my experience, I would say that I've worked with at least 500 plus clients, and never even once someone has asked me to design an app without using any color at all. And even that coming from someone of his age, I would say that really did catch me by surprise. But I think we did a very good job, because I personally, like I said, I'm a fan of minimalism and monochrome. So that entire app, we used no colors at all, and it turned out pretty well.
Which product was it?
It's called Nudge. It's a fintech app.
Cool. Fintech app and no colors.
No colors.
Which color did we use? Is it
all black and white?
Black and white.
Yeah.
Cool. Did any of the client ask you make it pop by any chance?
Of course. I think as designers, we've all heard that one comment. Make it pop, make it less white, fill up the blanks, the white space, all of that.
Out of 100 clients, how many clients would have asked you that? I
think the number has gone down in the recent years, because I think it's something that people, maybe they have come across memes where they see, how
designers
they
are
make
always
fun
asked.
of clients, yes. Yeah. But I have heard that request quite, in a good number, I would say.
Design trends come and go often, right? But there's some design that keeps stagnant no matter how many years or how many trends come and go, right? In the next year, do you have any golden rule or a golden trend that you think is going to thrive in the coming years?
So the one thing that I would say, in terms of visual design, the trends do come and go. I would say that in the present era of design, people are experimenting more on the visual design side, and that's a good thing. But from a product design philosophy standpoint, I would say that a lot of companies are going to leverage AI a lot more in product design, as in the product interface is going to change dynamically based on personalization and individual preferences. And AI is going to play a major role. And a lot of companies can be seen leveraging this in the coming years.
Do you think a current product designer or a UX designer should be equipped with AI tools, or how important is it to include AI tools in our design process?
Absolutely. I think designers have to start leveraging AI, not just to streamline their workflow, but also to get that competitive edge. I would say if a client comes to you with a concept, and if you are just spending all of your hours working on that concept manually, right? And those concepts may not be working out for the client. You don't know. You never know unless you present, right? So I think if you're using AI tools to create those concepts, really fast, you'll be able to give that POC much faster, and you'll be able to align with your client expectations much faster as well. So I think that does make an impact. And if you're comparing with your other competitors, and if your competitors are doing that, and if you're not doing it, then you're too far behind the game.
True. Moving on to the next question. Can you share how product design actually helps people in their daily life that sometimes people don't even realize?
So a lot of people have this confusion when it's clearly written pull on the door. A lot of people still don't understand that. They try to push the door, right? So I think a really good practice that we see around us is using horizontal handlebars on a door. We should make the user intuitively try to push it and not pull it. And if it's actually a pull, you can use vertical handlebars. So if you see horizontal handlebars, like the natural thing for you to do is to push it.
Right.
And when you see a vertical handlebar, the natural thing for you to do is to actually pull it. Right. So I think that's a good example of product design in daily life around us.
True. We'll move on to the next round. Okay. This is more of a thought-provoking round where we'll ask you some questions that can answer major business problems. So the first question is there a tip that you would like to give to product companies? There are a lot of startups coming up, right? There's that one mistake that people do over and over again. So is there a tip that you would like to give them?
So are you talking about a company who's going to launch their first product?
Yes.
All right. So this is something I would say I've seen a lot of people do this. Is that when they first go to the market with the product, they try to go all guns blazing, meaning they try to overcomplicate the MVP. Instead, I always recommend that we focus on the core feature and the simplicity of the functionalities around it. I would say just focus on the core feature, make that one feature, simple to use, and then launch it, get user feedback, and then make iterations and maybe also add more features later on. So that is one recommendation that I'd give to anyone who's going to market with their first product. Also, one other thing that makes a huge impact, also something that people overlook, even for an MVP, is branding, right? So doesn't matter if the product has not existed in the past, you can still make a really good statement with the branding that you have for your product, even if you are hitting it for the first time in the market, right? And it can be pretty much anything. Like it can be a food product that we are talking about, and even if it doesn't have the legacy of, say, your competitors, if you do a decent job with the packaging of it, it is going to attract attention, right? It also has to provide really good product quality, and that is non-negotiable. But the initial attraction can actually be created by a really well-designed packaging. So a lot of people also overlook the importance of branding, even if we are talking about an MVP. I think that is also one advice that I really give to a business owner who is going to the market with an MVP. Just don't cut down on the branding. Just try to put some effort into that as well. So one really good example of how branding can actually make a difference, even if you are a newcomer in the industry, in the business. I would really like to bring forward the case study of Mokobara, because I think they are into travel, accessory and luggage and all of that. I think they did such an exceptional job with branding, and that actually did make an impact. Right? They were able to capture such a huge share of market, and I think it had a lot to do with the branding that they had in place, and they did an exceptional job.
All right, so here's a fun question. If you had to redesign a popular product there in the market today, which product would it be?
Well, this is something that I often think about. But let's be honest about it, right? In 2025, if you are thinking of a popular product, I would say that it is pretty much very good in design right now. I mean, they would have invested so much in design, and I don't think it would require, it is so bad in design that it needs a major redesign. But if I'm really keen on redesigning something, I would say pretty much every government website and application. I wouldn't just stop at the redesign, I would also work on, if I have the authority, right? I would actually work on bringing it all together, because the bureaucracy, the paperwork and all of it, if as an ordinary citizen, if I have to say pay the taxes for my property or get my driving license renewed, it is such a hassle, right? You don't know where to go, which office to go. And I think that's where I would like to, I think I can make a difference, bringing it all under one umbrella and making it all intuitive so that pretty much everyone can actually use it.
Last question.
Yeah.
If you had to tell to a business owner about product design, what would that be?
I would say that design is not just decoration. It is business strategy itself, right? Because it's going to affect usability. It's going to affect brand perception. It affects user retention and also conversion. So design is not just decoration. I would say it is business strategy itself.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'd add on top of that is that a lot of businesses fail to actually balance business goals with user needs. A lot of businesses just focus on business goals and they overlook the importance of meeting user needs. And that is the
where
most stupidest thing, right? Yeah, of course. That's where we come in, because we understand the users and we actually create also the business, right? Because one cannot exist without the other. So that is one advice that I'd give, to never overlook the importance of understanding user needs, because you cannot have a business without them.
Right. I think we did good.
Yeah.